What are you training for?
Life.
Welcome to Train for Life, a podcast brought to you by ISI Elite Training. I'm Adam Rice, founder and CEO, and we'll be hosting this alongside Amanda Hall, our COO. Tune in weekly as we explore topics on personal and professional development to help you level up in all aspects of your life. We call this Training for Life.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Season 2 Train for Life podcast. Amanda Hall here, COO of ISI Elite Training, and I am actually going to put Adam Rice, the CEO and founder of ISI, on the hot seat to talk about what goes on behind the mind of an entrepreneur. So first of all, tell them a little bit about in a short stint, right? Obviously you founded ISI, but prior to that, you feel like you've always been an entrepreneur?
Definitely always an entrepreneur, so I don't know if anyone can relate out there, but I was the one slinging lemonades for 50 cents on the corner at 6 years old, and always trying to figure out a way to make money. So always been an entrepreneur at heart, and I've shared the story of the Chinese Jordans that I had manufactured, the Sci phones that I slung during college on Craigslist, and always had a knack for it.
So as an entrepreneur, what would you say, going back to when you talk about what's going on in your mind behind the lens? So always wanted to find a way to make money. What is that driven from, do you feel like?
Freedom and control, for sure. I think there are some people who, I don't want to say you're born as an entrepreneur, but you're born out of this creativity and you're a visionary, and you really have a level of curiosity. Then there's other entrepreneurs who have gone through the process, and for me, I never really had a job, right? So this has been my whole life, and I think there's some entrepreneurs out there that can have the same story. But then others, they've gone through the corporate America, and they've built their skill set and their experience, and now they've been able to use that, which neither's right nor wrong. I think my route, you're going to tend to fail a lot more early on because you don't have that experience. So
what do you feel when you think through your biggest challenges as an entrepreneur? So you're always, you've always wanted to start something new or build something that's your own. Where do you feel like your biggest challenges are, and what have you kind of learned about those through your path?
Yeah, I think for me, it comes down to self-awareness and understanding, what are you good at versus when are you self-sabotaging? I'll tell you that many entrepreneurs self-sabotage. They get something to a certain level, and then they ruin it so that they have something to work on, right? And so I know a lot of people like that. And I've been like that previously. And so it comes down to a level of focus, because some people are innately where I feel the most filled is when I'm building versus when I'm sustaining. So for me, actually, money doesn't drive me. Freedom drives me. But the ability to see something and seek an opportunity inside my head and bring it to fruition and rally people around it to be able to go do it and then provide opportunity to those people is really what fires me up. So, I've done everything from, early on, I had a bar, I had a small personal training studio, I had a limo service, I had a marketing agency, I had a meal prep company. So I've really learned, though, that when you do focus in on something, that you're able to put your energy. So you can either be okay at many things, or you can be great at one thing. Which is hard for an entrepreneur, especially someone kind of I think, right? Because it's you're staying focused on one thing for a long period of time, and you end up starting other businesses within that.
So how do you combat that then if that can become hard at a certain point, right? I mean, and ISI could have been that standpoint, right? You've brought it through from the creation to franchise to where it is. So when that becomes that, how do you combat that to stay and keep yourself in check?
Yeah, I think the worst thing that I could do is not give myself permission to create. And then that's what I'll do, is self-sabotage, right? So I have to have that outlet. But I also, for any other entrepreneurs out there, you have to have the infrastructure and the people to be able to run with the original and then obviously be able to continue to build. So, and you also have to have the people that can tell you no. And I think you have to be open to that. So it's hard, right? It is hard once you get to that level, but I've got ISI is obviously my baby. But I mean, I've got a big vision of how we bring ISI and other brands together in a conglomerate to be able to really provide value and impact and all of that. And so I think through time, it will definitely create more outlets, but it's understanding the season you're in and going all in on the season you're in right now.
That's a good point. What do you think about the term entrepreneur and how it's been used? I think a lot of people feel like an entrepreneur has become this term that I'm cool if I'm an entrepreneur. What do you think about that?
I hate it. Because I don't see any value in being an entrepreneur, meaning holding a title, right?
Right.
I personally don't like titles, because I think a lot of people, I mean, and nothing against this, but they'll work for a multi-level marketing agent or whatever, the pyramid things. I'm not going to call them schemes because they are real companies, but they'll invest $20 and call themselves an entrepreneur. And I don't think it's anybody can be an entrepreneur, right? I think at the end of the day, though, it's what are you doing and what is your impact and what are you trying to achieve? And don't ever just do anything for a title, because is it going to get you paid more, carrying you more influence? Most times, no. Right. So I think at the end of the day, it's just, I don't like it. But
do you think that creates pressure for some people to feel like that really aren't made to be an entrepreneur, or maybe that's not where they would thrive or the season they're in? They're seeking that because they feel the need to?
Yeah. So I will say this. I think social media, I think society has inherently placed this. They've put entrepreneurs on a platform, and entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. And I don't see entrepreneurs, like, do I see the value in what we do? And founders, yes, of course, right? We're providing, they're the heart of this country and literally what has driven us forward to provide opportunity. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make us better or worse than anybody else. I think, at the end of the day, you got to know what's right for you. Entrepreneurship, if you're a really good entrepreneur, you're not going to have much life balance, right? So if that's what you're seeking, don't go be an entrepreneur. You got to know what you want, what you desire, and not ever do it for a title, and do it for the bigger impact, your bigger vision personally, like what fills your cup. Because, does it buy you freedom? If you're a good entrepreneur, I also know entrepreneurs that are handcuffed to their business.
Yeah. So number one lesson learned as an entrepreneur, what is it?
Hire people smarter than you to collapse your timeline of success, and invest in infrastructure first. And this you could argue and debate this all day long. I'm a big believer in investing in infrastructure, which then applies pressure to sell, award, whatever it is that you're doing to create revenue into that infrastructure, versus sell, award, or do whatever you do to drive revenue and then hire the infrastructure. I think it creates less pain. I think it creates a better experience for your team and your employees. You're going to gain better retention. You're going to have better customer retention off that too. But it's a long-term play, and you're going to make less money in the short term. Most people are really looking at, how do I optimize and make as much money as I can right now versus the long-term vision.
Awesome. Great advice. Well, thanks for sitting in the hot seat, Adam. Guys, tune in, share this with your friends, like it. We hope you guys are finding some good value in this, and we can't wait to see you on the turf.